I am often asked, what is the difference between people who succeed in the share market and those who fail? And my answer to that question is mental posture. But what do I mean by mental posture? I mean your emotional response to the share market in general and to your shares in particular. Perhaps you think that you do not have an emotional response to your shares. You do. Imagine that you've got a share that you bought for 10 Rand a couple of months ago and it's fallen to 8 Rand. What are you feeling inside? You're feeling pain. And you're saying to yourself, I can't sell the shares because then I'll lose money. Or worse than that, I haven't lost any money until I sell the shares. It's absolute nonsense, of course. Of course you've lost money. The share is only worth what you can sell it for in the market. So you are in denial. You're trying to pretend that you haven't lost any money, but you have. So that is an example of how your mental posture can affect your decision making. Because the price you paid for that share 2 or 3 months ago, or whenever you bought it, is completely and absolutely irrelevant. The only thing that matters now is, does it go up from here or down? That's the only thing that matters. Now I put it to you, if you make a piece of irrelevant information the key factor in your decision as to whether to hold that share or sell it, you are bound to have difficulties. Let's consider another example. Let's suppose that you're a complete beginner in the share market. You know very little or nothing. But you found a share which you think is going to do well. And this is a great share. You like this share. You've looked at its balance sheet, you've studied the charts, and you think this share is going to go up. Right? So you take a small amount of money out of your savings account and you buy 100 of these shares and you hold your breath and you hope like anything it goes up. And to absolute delight, it does. Within a few weeks, you've doubled your money. You can't believe your eyes. You just can't believe what is happening to you. And everybody around you is very, very impressed with what you've done. But a little voice in the back of your head says, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So you decide to sell your shares, and you take the money and you put it in your bank, and you walk around with that big 200 Rand smile on your face. You know what I mean. And everybody's very impressed. They come to you and they ask you questions. You have become a guru. You've acquired guru status. And everybody asks you, what should I do here and what should I do there? And you're very liberal with your advice. And then, to absolute horror, the share continues to go up. First doubling, then tripling, then quadrupling. You can't believe it. Every day you open the newspaper and you stare at this wretched share. You wish it would go down. You feel that the share owes you money. And of course there's only one way to get your money back from that share. You must buy it again. Only this time you're going to go in big. This time you're going to correct the other mistake you made the first time. You're going to get a second bond on your house. Can you see that you are now ready to make the most monumental blunder in the share market? You're going to buy the share right at the top of its cycle and with far more money than you can afford. Now let us examine the emotional content in this little story of mine. Every day when you open the newspaper, on the page opposite the price page usually, you'll find the weekly top 10 up. Now these are the 10 shares that have gone up by the most in percentage terms over the last week. And you know what's interesting about that list? You'd never heard of any of them. That's what's interesting. Far from having a strong emotional response to these shares, which you missed, which went past you like ships in the night, you feel absolutely nothing. Why should it make a difference then if one of those shares is a share that you have just sold? Why should that make any difference? You see, a professional investor, when he sells a share, it joins the 400 shares which he does not own. It has no greater or lesser status. But the beginner gets emotionally involved. We are human beings. We don't buy and sell shares. We get married and divorced. We get involved and we break up. And that is the emotions of fear and greed that will definitely make you a poor person in the stock market. So learn to control your emotions. You have to be objective. You must be able to admit when you've made a mistake and take the appropriate action. That's what a stop-loss strategy is all about. It will greatly help you to improve your mental posture. Now I have one other thing that I need to talk about here, and that is the problem of overtrading. Now in the share market, beginners overtrade in two ways. First of all, they put too much money into a single trading idea, right? Too big a percentage of their portfolio. And that is a problem because it focuses all their money in a single area and it puts them greatly at risk. You should never have more than about 5% of your available capital in any single trading idea. Of course, I'm not talking about your first purchase of shares in the market. Then you will obviously buy one share, hopefully with around 10,000 Rand, 5 to 10,000 Rand, and you will hold on to that share until you've saved another 5 to 10,000 Rand, then you'll buy a second share. But your objective should be to diversify your portfolio to the point where you have somewhere around 6 to 8 shares. That would be optimum. Studies in the United States of America have shown that if you add more shares after about 10 or 12, you're not significantly reducing your risk. But of course, you're spreading your time more thinly, are you not? So it's a trade-off between diversifying and spreading your time too thinly. The other type of overtrading is probably far worse, and that is where you put more money into the market than you can cope with emotionally. How will you know that you have more money in the market than you can cope with emotionally? It's easy. You will fail to execute your stops. So consider carefully. When you go into the market, try to be objective. Try to isolate your decisions and be very scientific about your analysis. Have a stop-loss strategy. You can broaden your stops once you are in the money, but to begin with, your stop-loss should be fairly tight. And that is how you avoid bad mental posture. As you get more experienced, you will find you can handle larger sums of money in the stock market. And that, of course, means that you can make bigger profits.